So I'm super excited to introduce our second speaker of the night. So our second speaker is Angela Aiello, and she is an entrepreneur, and she's a wine expert who goes by Super Wine Girl. But here are a few fun facts that you probably don't know about Angela and that you're not going to find online. So Angela has traveled to over 14 countries, many of those twice. She's tasted over 10,000 wines, and she's recently interviewed the famous Hollywood actor, director, John Malkovich, whose wines are now imported to Canada and made in France for Wine Enthusiast magazine out of Napa Valley. That sounds like a cool opportunity. And Angela has skydived at 15,000 feet, which is the highest that you can go without oxygen. And she did that in Australia. Super cool. Angela, come on up here and share your fuck up.
Hi, guys. Thanks, Ben. That was really wonderful. Thank you so much. I was just actually saying to someone the other day, being an entrepreneur, coming from an entrepreneurial bloodline, that we need more forums like this for people to talk about. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more when I talk about maybe mental health in the entrepreneurial journey, because I think that's something that deserves a little bit more attention and maybe a community around. I'm Super Wine Girl. Wasn't always super, but I'm always a girl. I like wine. How many people here like wine? Yeah, right? It's a good thing to like. There's so much to know about it. It's this wonderful part of the world that transfers over every single industry. Agriculture, farming, innovation, technology. There's amazing things that happen in wine. And we're in a bit of a wine revolution renaissance right now, so I'm excited to be young-ish in it. I grew up in Niagara and always pictured myself in the MTV building, even though I didn't know a lot about music. And somehow I ended there in wine, and I do morning show television. I am an international wine journalist. I've taught I started a wine school, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but I sort of grew up in wine country, ended up in Toronto, small town girl, trying to make it in the big city. Lots of wine, no friends. So what did I do in 2006? I graduated from Brock in a business program, moved to Toronto to find a job, had lots of cases of Riesling. I started to throw small wine parties in my house. I was in a basement. They got bigger. I actually founded it originally with a friend of mine from university, and we got a ton of press. Back in 2006, I learned how to blog, I learned HTML coding, I learned how to write, and I learned how to pitch broadcast. And I got all of those opportunities. It was very cool. I look back now and go, wow, that is 13 years ago. It's crazy. Fine wine. And I also founded iYellow Wine School, which was founded 10 years ago when I saw a need for wine education that wasn't formalized. I think there's one thing about wine is it's intimidating, and there's a lot to know. So where can you go and just drink and learn? You only got to learn a couple things at every class, but you come to 6 of my wine classes and I can make you a pro. And the wine club started in 2006, and we grew to 50,000 members in Toronto alone. And at the end of 2018, just to fast forward 12 years, we did 150 wine events at the end of last year. So it was a really cool journey. It started off with Pax and I, and then wine school got so popular because there was nowhere else to learn. I opened a venue. In fact, I got my first office and I met the owner of the building, started chatting. He showed me the basement, and I was like, everybody wants to learn about wine in a basement. And they did. I had the wine cave for 5 years, started off just applying for SOPs through the AGCO, and we were running 2 to 3 classes a week in the first couple years. The AGCO pulls me into their office, their big LCBO office, and you can't be doing this, Angela. You can't teach people about wine. I was like, why not? You needed a full license. You can't have a temporary license if you're doing it in a regular location. Okay, no problem. Now what? I have to make a basement a fully licensed establishment. Okay, that seems totally legit. So, quit my part-time job, go to the Business Development Bank of Canada. I provide them with an entire business strategy and financials that I could pay back a loan to help build the wine cave. They'll help make the wine cave into the wine cave licensed. I ended up getting a $100,000 loan to open a venue. That's enough money, right? Yeah, nope. No. In fact, my entire process to license this establishment for my first time was over 2 years and over $130,000. It was double what I expected it to be. That's kind of shitty. It is. And the best part was BDC kept giving me money. Here, no problem. You're already in debt. Here, we'll give you some more money. Great, I need it, actually. I have a team of 6 where I have to give them full-time employment for wine school and wine events to satisfy cravings of 50,000 Torontonians who wanted to learn about wine. The other great thing is I had a ton of clients. I was working with international clients, wines of New Zealand, wines of South Africa, wines of California. Everybody was coming to me. Can we work with you? You're teaching people about wine. It's so great. I was very inspired, so I kept spending money. So I get engaged. Okay, great. Now this is happening, but I'm engaged. Maybe I should pull back on the business and do something else, like maybe have a family. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and so I decided to take out more money. And we finally get the license for the cave. On the exact same day, I had been in talks with another company because I had hired a consultant during this time period to come in and analyze my business, completely not knowing anything about me, my passion for wine, the trends, nothing. I paid them $10,000, and they said to me, "Everything you're doing is wrong." All the money I just spent was not the right money. You're doing so much work with all these international clients. The only way for you to become a profitable business is for you to become a marketing agency. You will never make it in a licensed establishment in an environment like Toronto, as we all know. How much turnover do restaurants have in this city to be able to efficiently stay alive? So, okay, where do I go now? I just had a breakup, and I'm $200,000 in debt. Sounds like an awesome place to be, doesn't it? So I move into a new venue. I knew I had to get rid of the other space and move into something else. I got a new office because our lease was up, and I needed to find a place to live. So I found this incredible townhouse on King Street West where I could have a little bachelorette, an office for my 5 staff, and a venue underneath. We didn't need to be licensed because it was my house. Perfect. A little bit better. So what happens in all of this is you end up consistently going back to the bank, telling them all these amazing things, and they keep giving you a little bit of money, which is lovely. It works out. I could actually show you financial statements that could prove that I was making money. But what happens is when you're a self-funded business and you have $200,000 to pull from, you need more than $200,000 to pull from. You need $1 million line of credit to help something grow, not $200,000. And you can't be paying it back at a 5-year term. That's a lot of money every month to pay back a loan. It's crazy. So I make another business pivot. I decide, okay, I'm going to become a marketing agency. This is what they told me to do. No problem. I'm not a marketing agency. I don't know. None of my team is from an agency. They're all event planners. So I go out and look for a partnership. I pivot the business, and I find a business merger. I find somebody who's running an agency, a media group, a national media group, and I decide to merge with them. So I merged with this amazing company. It was just last summer, actually. And on the same day I got the license for the wine cave, I received an offer of acquisition. On the same day. It's kind of crazy. Then I go into this merger, I bring my team with me, and I have a loss of my number 2. She unfortunately has some mental health issues, and she ends up not coming into work one day and not coming back again. Now, I'm operating 2 businesses at this time. I'm running the wine cave, which I need to slowly wind down because my lease and the loans are coming up hot. And I'm opening up a marketing agency at the same time. The loss of my team member was very hard. There were 2 of us, somebody who had been with me for 7 years, and then unfortunately didn't show up to work one day. Just didn't show up to work one day. And then I also had the accounting and finance side of my team. Thank you. I had my entire accounting firm go bankrupt and black. So I'm the salesperson, I'm the business development person, I'm the client person, and my team, a very large portion of this job was headed on to my number 2 and my accounting team. Now you can imagine, in September, right when you're supposed to be gearing up for year end and the busiest time of the season, 2 very strong people that you need leaving. Whew, I was not good. I'm opening a business with a national company. I'm closing a business. I'm trying to wind everything up, and things are just falling apart around me. It was really hard. That was me on most days, wasn't it, Ryan? Yeah, we talk about support. I have had an incredible, amazing, wonderful entrepreneur boyfriend who's helped me through. Now, when I talk about health, I talk about financial health, mental health, and physical health. All these things went down the drain at once. So, okay, well, let's pivot again. So what do? Totally close the cave. I ramp up my marketing agency within a national company. And within 1 year, I'd brought in $1 million worth of business from my marketing agency. I couldn't even bring in $1 million when I was running the wine club or the cave. I found out trade has money. Getting consumers to pay money on a regular basis, very hard. So my consumer portion of my business all went away, and I focused strictly on trade. So I merged last summer, which was August, and August to most of December was horrendous, and the last 18 months of my life have been incredibly challenging. In fact, I've had a loss of my own money of $260,000, a self-funded business of which I took out all loans against my personal financial health. But what's so exciting is this year, I closed that business. And it might not seem like something you're proud of to close a business, but for me, I started this business on passion, and I'm closing it because I'm burnt out. And what's so interesting is there's a lot of businesses that get started out of passion, but what people don't talk about is passion can burn out, and you have to keep that passion alive. So what I've decided for 2020 to keep my passion alive is to close my business, be a one-woman show, travel the world, drink 10,000 glasses of wine, and share a story about, one, how easy it is to get money from a bank for your idea. I can tell everybody how to do it. I can hook you up. But the bad news is you got to pay that money back at some point, And sometimes it's they make it seem really great. Oh yeah, this is not a 25-year mortgage. This is a 5-year payback plan. Imagine having $10,000 a month just to pay back your loan. Whew, hard. And so, that's my story.
Angela, that was awesome. Thank you for being so open and so vulnerable with us. And it just goes to show not every story that we hear up here, it doesn't always end in like a happy and perfect way. A lot of the time a business does need to be shut down, but there's always something that you can learn from it. And really, like, it's amazing what you've done and recognizing when it was time to shut it down and to move on and really to have that lifetime of freedom and a lifestyle that you're passionate about again. I also want to say, of course, it's not always bad to be getting loans if you really have the right team in place and you understand what to do with it and what you're getting yourself into. It could be a very powerful thing, but thank you for that word of caution as well. And let's open it up to some Q&A for Angela. I'm sure you guys are going to have some great questions. Awesome.
So I have two questions. One is the image that you showed in which the girl was crying and saying, "I'm fine." So that highlights the issue that everybody who's here and an entrepreneur has faced about mental health. So how do you cope with that? And the second is, how do you actually pull yourself together and say that it's time to let go? Because letting go and saying no and closing something that you're so passionate about is a huge challenge. So these are two interrelated questions according to me, but I would love to get answers for that.
I mean, I've definitely learned a lot about mental health. One, working in the wine business. I think it's very evident to see amongst the trade industry, generally speaking, how alcohol is used. How did I deal with that? You know, I have to say, honestly, I'm still kind of working my way through. And as a segue to your second question, I felt like my business took everything out of me in a way that I was very happy to give in the beginning, and then kind of like it stole from me a little bit near the end. And so for me, the closing of the business actually is aiding in the fixing of my mental health, because my business was all consuming. When I had that breakup, I mean, I was like, oh my God, I broke up, okay. Fork in the road, work. And what did I do? I just put my head down and worked. So for me, it's almost a little bit exciting and mindfully blowing in a way where I don't have all this pressure now. I don't have the pressure of having a team. I don't have the pressure of running a business. I don't have the pressure of making it almost every month. And I'm excited about that.
After you come back from traveling, do you hope to start another business or go into the workforce?
There's the rub. Like, if I could just go away and not think about a million businesses to open, that would be great. Because I feel like it's a haphazard, like, entrepreneurial thing where you're constantly seeing opportunities to change the world or to change an industry. And if you're ambitious, it's kind of like, I'm gonna fucking rock it. You know, like, it's great. I think I have been able to step back, and I would like to spend a bit more time mentoring businesses, to be honest. I don't know if this is possible, but sustainability is something we all talk about. But I have evidently seen in many people who work an unsustainable work environment. And that is financial, culture, expectations. I think there's a lot to be done. If we sit around here and we have all these people who would work 100 hours a week on something that they love, why couldn't you surround them with an entire sphere of love to be able to make that happen? So sustainable business is something I'm passionate about. And that includes many things, financial, mental, all those things. I'll be starting another business. Yeah. I might even take out a whole bunch of money. Because I'll know how to do it right now.
Why iYellow?
So I grew up in a small town in Niagara, St. Anne's. This is like a wine country, and nobody could say iYellow. So I leveraged the brand when I was in high school, actually, to go for a presidential campaign, and it won. So it kind of stuck. And then when I started it in Toronto, I was like, well, it works, so I'll just do it again. And so I just called it iYellow Wine Club.
Thank you for sharing the story. Looking back and looking about your future opportunities in business, what one thing you would add or change in the way you did your business before to be successful?
I think I'm so passionate that I feel like when I'm with people, I share that passion and people get very excited with me. And I think now having a very strong financial acumen after being the sole CEO of your own company and it not working out the way you want it to, I'm so sensitive to understanding that part that it actually is exhilarating now for me to look at numbers. So it's kind of like I want to be able to be 10 steps ahead in my thought process as a business rather than being caught up in it's so great. So I think the strategy is what excites me the most now, with a little bit more maturity, some work experience. It's like, let's sit back and think about this before we do it, really long and hard, and analyze the data so that we're making the exact calculated move rather than kind of like just doing it, which is great. I mean, I have a lot of enthusiasm, which helps in a lot of ways. But I think strategy helps and wanting to understand calculated research and data.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a good way to end off then. Awesome. Angela, thank you for sharing your story.